Okay, so today we're diving into a story that's told not just with words, but through some absolutely stunning, vibrant art. It's called The Golden Resonance, and honestly, it feels less like typical sci-fi and a lot more like a modern-day fairy tale. And through its amazing visual style, it asks a question that feels, well, incredibly relevant right now.
And yeah, that question is one we all kind of grapple with, right? In a world that's just full of glowing screens and non-stop notifications, are we actually more connected? Or have we just gotten really good at building fancier walls between ourselves? This story doesn't just ask that question. It gives it a world-shattering answer.
So, the story introduces us to two people who are living in the same city, but they might as well be on different planets. First, you have Silas, just completely bathed in the cool, digital blue of his screens. And then you have Mariah, who is totally grounded in the warm, real-world rhythms of her city. The artwork itself tells you everything you need to know. His world is all sterile blues and purples, while hers is just pulsing with these vibrant, earthy tones. They're basically the two halves of how we live today.
Let's start with Silas. He's an archetype that, well, a lot of us might recognize, maybe a little uncomfortably. He is the ghost in the machine, a mind basically haunting a digital shell. His apartment is described as a sanctuary of glass and silicon. And in this little fortress he's built, he feels totally in control. He's reachable by anyone and everyone, but really, he's known by no one. And just look at the illustration here. That intense focus is all directed at a world that isn't really there. For him, the hum of a computer fan is way more comforting than an actual human voice. And then, his entire world starts to fracture. The data streams he relies on just falter. The comforting blue glow of his monitors flickers and shifts to what the story calls a violent violet. You can see it right on his face. That look of total mastery is gone. It's just pure shock. His digital fortress is coming down.
And then, absolute silence. The screens go black, turning into these mirrors that reflect a guy he barely even recognizes. And in that sudden, crushing quiet, he feels this terrifying weight of being truly, completely alone. His world wasn't just switched off, it vanished, and it took his sense of who he was right along with it.
Now, as Silas's digital world is imploding, we meet its total opposite, Mariah. She isn't a watcher of screens. The story calls her a watcher of rhythms. She feels the world not as bits of data, but as this living, breathing tapestry of vibrations. And look how the art style just completely shifts. It's organic, it's warm, it's teeming with life. She's not staring at a screen, she's got her hands in the dirt. So you have these two totally separate realities. What on earth could possibly bridge that gap? Well, this is where the story brings in its own kind of magic, a celestial spark that is about to change absolutely everything.
The cause is scientific, and it's almost terrifyingly simple. A massive coronal mass ejection from the sun. It's a burst of solar plasma, way more powerful than anything we've ever seen, and it's hurtling straight for Earth. Just a cold, hard fact of physics.
But the effect? How the effect is pure poetry. As all the world's power grids start to fail, the sky doesn't go dark. It explodes with light. Silas gets drawn to his window, and instead of a blackout, he sees this impossible aurora. The illustration here just captures it perfectly. It's not just light. The story says it feels like a presence, a physical warmth vibrating right through the glass.
You see, this event was way more than just an EMP. It didn't just break our technology, it fundamentally rewired us. This is what the story calls the golden resonance. So what happened is the electrical surge found a new pathway, the human mind. It basically jumped into the network of our thoughts and our emotions, and just like that, all the invisible walls between people just dissolve. Suddenly, you can feel your neighbor's joy, their loneliness, their entire life story as clearly as you can feel your own heart beating. And it happens to everyone, everywhere, all at once. For Silas, it's not pain, it's an agonizing joy that just shatters all of his carefully built emotional walls. And at that exact same moment, Mariah doesn't just see the lights, she feels the earth itself exhale, like this huge collective sigh as everyone finally reconnects.
So, what happens next? What does society even look like when a species that's basically forgotten how to truly connect is suddenly flooded with unfiltered empathy for everyone else?
Well, for Silas, this new reality pushes him out of his apartment. He's not following a map on his phone. He's being guided by this internal melody, the shared feeling that's pulling him toward the heart of the city, to a park he probably never even knew was there.
And Mariah, she's drawn to the very same place. When she sees Silas by that fountain, he isn't a stranger. He's like a part of herself she didn't know was missing. In this new world, you don't need introductions because recognition is just instantaneous.
And this right here is the beautiful culmination of their journey. They're on a high rooftop, looking over a silent city, and they're just standing together. They're not two isolated people anymore. They're like two notes that have finally found their chord. The old world, the old systems, they're gone. But for the very first time, no one is truly alone.
This one line really just captures the whole point of this modern fairy tale. All the technology we surround ourselves with, all the social media, the constant pings and notifications, it was never evil. It was just static. It was just noise that was drowning out a much deeper connection that was always there, just waiting.
And so, the story leaves us with this really powerful question. If all of that static was just gone, if you could truly feel the joy and the pain of every single person around you, what would our world actually look like? It's a beautiful and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of a terrifying thought to leave you with.